There it is.
Hello, Kelly.
Hello.
Right when we go live. Right when we go live.
Well, I'm Greg. That's Jeff.
I'm Jeff, and my roommate's showing me French food, apparently.
Oh, sweet.
Thanks,
That's all right.
Kelly. It's a cool...
Hey.
What's in it?
Well, this... oh, nice. Nord Leon.
Am I keeping this? Thanks, Kelly.
Awesome.
I have no idea what this is.
It's gotta be
That's live. That's live. Yeah, like literally right when he went live, it's like, oh, hello. So,
well, I mean, that's a good thing that's happened this past 4 days.
I'm guessing there's food in here. Ooh.
What is it?
I don't know what this is.
I mean, it looks
donut-ish. Like a donut, but it doesn't smell like a donut. Interesting.
Cool.
Oh, I'll have to try that later. Hello, everybody. Well, this is the 4040 men. He is Greg.
And this is Jeff. And we got to tell everyone right off the bat, relax.
Seriously.
Relax. There's 158 games left. 158 games left.
The amount of people that I have seen online so far who have written the season off already is astounding to me. It's 158 bizarre. Games. Like, Barrios just like he was. Oh, I can't believe we signed Bassett. That guy sucks. Blah, 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 blah. Really? Does he really suck? Like, he had the worst game of his, literally the worst game of his career.
Worst game of his career, yeah.
Ever. So if you think that he's going to have the worst game of his career all the time, then you're a fucking moron. I'm serious.
Well, here's the best though. Here's the best though. Barrios actually, out of our starters, doesn't even have the worst ERA.
I know. It's got to be Manoah,
because he's
right?
in the middle. No, it's Bassett. It's Bassett. It's 24.30 is his ERA, and Manoah is 13.50, and Barrios is coming in at 12.70, a spelt 12.70.
Well,
but
I think
it's one game, guys.
I think our ERA is like 9 now. I think we've given up an average of like 9 runs a game.
Team
the first 4 games.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, must be.
I think that's actually what it is. The only one who did well was Gosman. And so
and he didn't really get roughed up. He also pitched 6 innings. Gave up 8 hits, 3 runs, but whatever. He was fine.
The thing, I think what's happening right now, and this is probably not going to be just our team dealing with this stuff.
It's the clock.
Well, it's the clock to a point, but I think they got used to the clock. I think what it is that when you're getting into a game now where it's a lot more serious, right? You're not like in spring training, you're trying out pitches, right? So you're not calling very much. Like I'm going to work on my curveball today. I'm going to work on my fastball today. And a lot of the guys, when they pitch in these games, are just trying out their pitches to make sure they're doing all right, right? But it's...
Here's my thing. I have a feeling. I mean, Kikuchi's going to be up tonight, and I think he'll be fine. No, I think he'll be fine because here's one of the reasons. Like all last season, he was doing that, tinkering with his cadence, tinkering with his pitches, tinkering with whatever. And I mean, he's like it's done. He's figured it out.
I think he doesn't have to think about anything for one thing. With Bassett specifically is going to be a problem because he's got 8 pitches. Yeah. And he tried to call. This is another thing. The 2 pitchers that tried to call their own game, which was Bassett and Barrios, I believe, to a point, they got killed.
Well, this guy Barrios had who was catching for Barrios? It was
Kirk.
It was Jansen. It was Kirk. Jansen gets to call the game. Kirk doesn't.
Don't even get me started. I swear to God. We are going to rue the day that Gabriel Moreno was the guy who was traded, not Kirk. We are going to rue that day because did you see his one of the games I was watching? His throw to second, it was against Kansas City. His throw to second base to get the runner was like 15 feet away from the bloody base.
He's not hitting. The base is bigger now,
and the bases are bigger. He's not hitting the greatest. He's still a lumpy dude who can't run. Like there was a point at one of the games where if it was a regular runner, would have scored, but not Kirk. He's a double play waiting to happen. If he hits it on the ground, it's an automatic double play. If there's a guy
most catchers in the league are. Most catchers in the league are.
No. Yeah. I wouldn't say that because Kirk has got to be the slowest guy I've ever seen. He is so slow. And for a team that's going to pride itself on running, because that's what we did. We brought a
Mhm.
bunch of guys in who can run. And if there's one thing we've done really well when we've had people on base is run the
Well,
bases.
that's
Can you remember?
that's the first game. The first game we didn't we won that one 10-9, no home runs,
Yeah.
which
Our
is
first one didn't
rare,
come until
which is
yesterday.
yeah, which and that was Bo. That's our first dinger.
We were
That's
the
our only
last
dinger. Yeah.
team in we were the last team in baseball to hit a home run. The last team.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll change obviously when we get home.
I mean, St. Louis
We've still got to finish
crushed
this
us.
one, and then we've got it. But Saint and this is also another thing too. St. Louis is a decent team.
Yeah,
A
oh
lot of
no,
people forget that.
don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Losing 2 or 3 to St. Louis is
Yeah.
not like the BL, like, oh my god, it's terrible, because yeah, they're one of the best teams in baseball.
Like
Um,
we gotta take the rest of these in Kansas City
but
just to sort of just to save a little face, and then
but
we go to LA, and at some point we're actually gonna line up against Shohei Ohtani.
well, here's the big but is when one of their pitchers, I believe it was Jack Flaherty, issues and the team issues you 10 walks in a game and you can't
And you
score
can't score.
any of them. You had one, they had 10 walks and one hit at one point. Like I
Well,
get
I'm also
like
I'm looking at some of our pitchers' whips as well. You want it
oh
to be around
god,
one
is
ish.
it 3?
We've got some that are Manoah's 330 and a couple of guys are 4.
See,
But
these guys will settle down. I'm not worried about our pitching per se.
they'll it's that's one like let it go like 2 times through the rotation, and then you
Yeah,
can start judging.
like Barrios, okay, I can understand people having a bit of a shorter leash for him. I get it.
Yeah.
Right. And he did. He did the exact same thing he did last year. He left pitches out over the plate. He's got movement, but for some reason, I don't know whether he's got to move on the rubber somewhere or he's got to aim to a different place to get the pitch to end up where he wants it to. But right now, everything is kind of going outside into the middle like this
Mhm.
instead of starting in the middle and moving somewhere else. That's the problem. And for some, like like I said, you could see the movement on the pitches. It's not like he's not getting movement. He's not like he's not getting velocity. He's not locating. And if he's not locating, it means he's not
I mean,
throwing to the
it's
right spot.
yeah, and after doing 2 of those to a major league batter in a
Yeah.
row, you're gonna hit it no matter what.
I'm telling you right now, what's going to happen this year is Danny Jansen's going to take a stranglehold on the first catcher's position.
Oh, most
I
definitely.
only because I don't think Kirk can do it. I don't think he can. I don't think he can catch 80 games. I don't think he can. I don't think he's physically capable of it. I'm really not high on Kirk right now. I'm not because, as we discussed
I
last time,
was
he
gonna say
didn't do anything.
I've never noticed that about you.
Well, I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Like he did
Mhm.
well last year at the beginning of the season, right? And then he crapped the bed in
Yeah,
the second half because he ran out of gas. But he was also DHing a lot. So
yeah,
this year we thought, okay,
and
you're not
that
going
was
to
the
DH
first
anymore.
full season. That was the first full
Exactly.
season. Like, all right, get the legs under yourself, and then
Exactly. And now that we've got Brandon Belt, he's not, he's not going to be DHing all the time either,
no,
which will give him rest. But just watching him, I don't know, man. Like his at bats aren't that great so far. I know he's behind because he had to have his kid, which is great. Whatever, you stay and be there with your child when you have your first child, like
yeah,
obviously. But he's a couple weeks behind, and then the issue he had, we got a ball called on because he couldn't use the pitch tracker right with Manoah, right? And then Manoah
mhm,
started calling his stuff, and it wasn't working out as well. Like one thing I've learned is our pitchers should not be calling their own fucking games
yeah,
because the 2 pitchers who did got shelled. If the pitch comm's not working, go back to signs.
mhm,
Like people did it before. Like the pitch clock is 18 seconds, right? So,
mhm,
or it's 15 seconds and 20 seconds if there's somebody on base. And considering we've had people on base a lot, it's
mhm.
usually 20 seconds. That is more than enough time. It was more than enough time for 100 goddamn years to get
Yeah,
signs for that. The only reason Bassett's different is because he's got 8 pitches.
mhm.
And that's the thing. Like, okay, which one do I call? Like, how do you call that? So he never had to start like this at all last year with the Mets.
I,
So people just got to.
there's I think the pitch clock will have a tiny effect because now it matters. Like they got to dick around with it during spring training, but now it matters. But
I think
I
another
don't
month.
think it should. I don't think it should because like I've stated this before, like Halliday and Burley, they used to rocket through games. Like who
Yeah.
gave like they didn't care about it. Like they would do 7 seconds.
Well, they knew what they wanted to do, and they knew what they wanted to throw. That's
Yeah,
different because they're not relying on their catcher to do it. But when we're working
no,
with guys who are still getting used to the catcher,
yeah,
and that's the thing. So I'm wondering if Kirk is floundering, is he still going to be the personal catcher for
for
Manoah
Manoa, no,
and
and then
Barrios? Because apparently
yeah,
he was pretty much for Barrios as well. I'm wondering if that's going to even happen now,
yeah, because like
and
it's
I
gonna
don't see it.
it was like a 2 and a 3 split. But
Yeah,
if you're starting to suck, then maybe it's 5, and then take a couple of days off
yeah.
for Jansen.
But I mean, the guys have been hitting. We got 5 runs yesterday. Like we're
Our,
not scoring, so that's not our issue.
our average is good. Like the batting average is decent.
Yeah,
Like
that's
we've got a few guys that are hitting 400 and 500. Like
yeah.
I mean,
It's just the bullpen just hasn't done shit for now. Like they've
yeah,
been aside from Romano in his one game. My favorite was so, I was reading this today. This guy's like it was a picture of the bobblehead of Romano and Jansen. They are having the new bobblehead where they're like slapping hands together.
okay,
They always do at the end of a game. They do the
yeah,
slap bow kind of thing.
yeah.
There's a bobblehead of that now that's
Oh,
going to be
cool.
handed out
That I
sometime in
didn't
a
know.
couple
Yeah,
weeks, right? So they were showing the guy was just showing a picture. He goes, "Oh yeah, I guess Romano's never going to get another chance this season to get a save. The way things are going." I'm like, really?
it's
The
four
way things are
games.
going, 4 games, that he's not going to get one more save for the rest of the year. Another guy said, "Oh, we're terrible. We're going to finish in last place." So I said to the guy, I said, "Well, then I guess you're not going to watch, right?
Yeah.
Like, why would you? If you've already convinced yourself we're not going to win anything, then why are
All
you
this
watching the game?"
all this means is if you're a gambling man, um,
Mm-hmm.
start to suck in the
I
first little
mean,
while, because
the Phillies haven't won a game yet.
then the Phillies are World Series champs. They are 0-4. Yeah, they're 0 and
That's
4.
that's
But you
the
know what?
thing. Like, yeah,
Their odds have dropped dramatically. So bet on the team that sucks right now. I don't know. Like
exactly.
maybe try to
Like,
make some money.
you just can't do this from the just you just can't. You can't base everything off of 4 games.
It's
Like,
not the NFL where you get 17 weeks, 17 games, 18 weeks. That's it. It's 17 games. You get
yeah.
162. And
It's just I honestly, and I've said this before, I think it's just that we have such a Leaf mentality now. We just assume that we're gonna suck ass. Like, and as soon as we start to suck ass, oh, I see, I told you, we're gonna
everyone's
suck
out.
ass,
Yeah.
right? Like
It's
Seattle's 1-4, Houston's 2-3.
I mean
Like,
Tampa's 4-0.
yeah.
But Tampa, is
Well, look at
was
San
good
Diego.
last year.
San Diego lost twice to the Rockies.
Yeah.
Like,
And
if you,
San Diego's payroll, literally just with Soto.
yeah, like
Like,
I don't get these people. Like, it just makes no sense to crap on them already. It just doesn't. It's weird. Like, it's I swear to God, it's a Toronto thing.
yeah.
This isn't happening in every other city. People will cheer their team on. I mean, if it's July and August and their team is really sucking ass, then sure, people are gonna start getting angry.
I'm pretty sure they're hearing it in Philadelphia, because Philadelphia is a pretty rough town just in general.
Oh man, is it?
They're,
You know
they
what? I used to say I always wanted to go to
but
Philly. I don't really want to go to Philly.
they do get the benefit of the doubt because they just won the World Series, so the people are probably going to let them sort of slide for a bit. But I don't know. Philly's a pretty rough town. I feel that eventually they're going to start hearing some shit
For
thrown their
some
way.
reason, I thought it wasn't the Phillies that won. I thought it was the other team. I don't know why I thought. No, Houston won, not the Phillies.
Houston, oh, sorry, Houston won, but it was against Philadelphia.
It was against Philadelphia. Yeah, you were
Yeah,
confusing me. I'm like, did I miss a year?
yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. World Series appearance.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like,
exactly. Will it? Yeah. But otherwise, I mean, we've had some decent pitch. Like Pop's done all right.
yeah.
Romano's done all right. Garcia. I mean, people crapped all over Tim Mesa.
Adam Simber's been okay.
Well, people crapped all over Tim Mesa in that second game because he gave up
Yeah,
a bunch of hits, right? But if you look at
yeah,
the hits that he gave up leading to the runs, they were piddly little dribblers that just sneaked through the infield. It's
yeah.
not like he gave up a rousing like base hit off the wall. And people are calling for Tim Mesa's head already. Oh, just like last year, Tim Mesa. You mean like in the championship series game when all of our pitchers sucked?
Yeah.
Like Tim Mays has been a pretty good pitcher for us
Yeah.
overall.
I
So
well,
anybody who's thinking that he sucks now just because he gave up a couple runs and a bunch of piddly little hits, again, don't know what they're talking about. The internet just is it's just a wash of people who just have opinions and no fucking facts. And I'm telling
I
you, that's what woke means, right? It's feelings and not facts. That's what woke is, apparently.
I love how if you just leave AI alone just based on reading, like Twitter and YouTube responses, it automatically just diverts to like an evil being and like a Nazi or something like that. Like
Yeah,
because most of the time, whenever people want to write stuff, they write shit because
yeah,
that's I think that's how people vent, and I think that's how
it
people
is.
vent. Like no one's ever gonna go, come on, way to go, guys. The I don't know if you ever remember the Battlestar Galactica.
Which one?
The redone one, which by the way is one
Okay.
of the greatest TV shows ever. But
Never did
Battlestar
see it, but
Galactica,
yeah.
one of the keys thing was when AI started to, um, like when robots essentially like the artificial intelligence started to think for itself, and when it started to think for itself, it realized how depraved humanity was, so it wanted to wipe them out.
Mm.
Well, it's starting to do that. It's literally like they haven't wiped humanity out, but they've realized how depraved it is. So
Yeah.
might as well learn to fly, a Viper and
No,
fight a
like
Cylon.
don't get me started. I don't know what's going on in general in society, but this whole like the Donald Trump thing's a perfect example of it.
Mhm,
Of people are losing their minds. They're calling us a bunch like he's being indicted, right? And
mhm.
people on the right are losing their shit. They're like, this is unconstitutional. This is blah blah blah. It's like, well, no, your guy just did dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is just the beginning, people. So if you think the Stormy Daniels thing is the only thing that's going to take him down, you people are wrong. And the best part is, Stormy Daniels has said that she'll absolutely go and testify, which I would love to see because I cannot wait for the orange baboon to be thrown in cuffs and fucking thrown in jail, and then watch his kids follow him as well, and have the rest of the left laughing their asses off, and then the right's going to take out all their guns, and they're going to start a civil war, and then you're going to see Gilead somewhere around Alabama.
So
That's
then
kind of what it is.
what teams fall in which area here? I'm guessing like Marlins and Rays, even though they're in like
Atlanta's
Florida,
in Georgia. They're kind of
Atlanta's in
down there
Georgia.
too.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like the
I
southern
mean,
states don't have much, thank
yeah.
God.
Texas and
Because
Houston, they've got a World Series. So there you
yeah,
go.
it's just it's crazy.
Well,
But
I mean, but like as I said, like we're not different up here. At least we're keeping it to sports. But we're pissing and
well,
moaning as
yeah,
soon
we
as something goes wrong.
to a point. Like there's the amount of people who hate Justin Trudeau and think Justin Trudeau is a communist is laughable. It's really funny. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's an incompetent boob,
Boob.
and
No.
I voted for him. Don't get like I thought like I'm gonna vote for him because I'm not voting for a bunch of racists. But it's either you get racists or dumbasses. It's one or the other, and it's like I don't even know who to fucking choose
It's
anymore because
giant turd or shit sandwich. Yeah.
yeah, like when he went to when the Queen died. Well, you think people complained that he had a $6,000 a night suite when he was going to see the Queen when the Queen died. Who cares? He's the president.
It's
He's the leader of a country. Like, what's he
it's
gonna
a
do? He's gonna go to the Red Roof Inn and get a $50 goddamn room? I don't think so. You know what I mean? He's the Prime Minister of Canada. He's gonna be one of the guys who's gonna get a nice place to sleep.
yeah. Well,
That
I mean,
kind of goes with the territory.
I'm pretty sure the 6,000 encompasses security involved with that too. So
No, it was just the room cost.
no,
And
but no, but I mean, like by getting that room, there's obviously features in that room that are dedicated to that kind of stuff.
well, if anything, the room like my buddy got married, he used to work at the Royal York, and the Royal York had a Queen suite.
Mhm.
So they gave him after the wedding the Queen suite for like $50,
Yeah.
right? Because he worked there. So we went to the Queen suite. First of all, horrible decor. Whoever
Oh, well, the
decorated the
Royal
Queen
York
suite.
is how old? Think of that. Like,
Yeah, but it was just not good. It was just the color
yeah.
scheme and everything. It just wasn't pleasant. They had a 23 seat dining room in this suite. There were 3 bedrooms in the suite and 4
Wow.
bathrooms. And they were huge. And
Mhm.
the usual common living room type area that kind of
Yeah.
was the middle of all of them. But a
Well, because
23 seat
that's there
dining room,
that's there for the staff, right? Like you have a staff that you're in. So that's what that
it's
is.
a yeah, so I mean, it's I don't know. I'm just kind of.
Oh well.
I'm glad we've got sports because as I said last week, it's the last bastion of fair play,
Yeah,
where it's just one on one or team against team. There's nothing else going on other than
yeah.
people trying to be the best that they can be. And that's great because everything else going on is
It's shite.
garbage,
Yeah.
fucking garbage. So like,
What?
I wasn't too. The play of Kiermaier has been good. Our defense has been good.
Yeah.
Like our defense has been pretty good. Dalton's gotten a few. Dalton did miss one high pop up that was lost in the sky and came a double, but I mean, it was one of those ones where it was like there were no clouds. It was like middle of the afternoon, so you hit a ball in the air, you can't see anything. So I don't blame him for that one. But they've had some good diving plays. They've had some great base running. They've had good at bats. Like until yesterday. Yesterday they seemed to be swinging early a lot with against Brady Singer, and it was bothering me because I'm watching their team just taking a few pitches and then smoking hits all over the place, and we're just like first or second pitch swinging the bat, and it's like,
I
eh,
in terms of the defense, I want to see what happens when we go home. Because
mm,
we'll have what 3 series under our belt at that point in time, right? And then they're going to go into a vastly different outfield,
yeah.
different dimensions. Plus, Varsho hasn't actually really set foot in the dome because he's,
So
they've been down there.
it's
So
fine.
you've got Kiermaier who has played there, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's going to be a different setup because he's played there as a visitor,
Yeah,
and Springer's played there for a couple seasons.
yeah.
So that's going to be so our outfield is going to be a little. No, I don't think suspect. Don't get me wrong, suspect, but I think there might be the odd bobble or the odd whatever because they're going to test the dimensions out, right? Because it's going to be new.
Mm,
It's going to be
I don't
different.
think I'm not really too worried about that, to be honest. Like the one thing I found interesting that I didn't find out about the new setup until today was in the right field bleachers. They're creating there's bench seating now, and
Okay.
it's a first come first serve.
Oh, okay, cool. That's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, they got the
Like
general admission stuff.
old school general admission, like literal general admission.
Literally, like
Yeah,
yeah, $20 as opposed to
$20
two
general admission.
when
Yeah.
it was back in the day. $2,
Well,
$2 for a
it
game was
was it was
great.
it was I remember like when I first moved here, it was $4 to sit in those seats at the tail end of Exhibition Stadium,
I
which
remember I thought it was because I always got them from Dominion for $2. That was
it
Dominion always
might have
gave
been
them. Yeah, see, they always had them for $4, but if you got them from Dominion, $2.
$2, two
And now,
bucks.
and I used to
Inflation,
work. And I used to
inflation.
work for Dominion, so it was pretty simple and easy to get tickets.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dimensions, and it's going to be fun having the fans closer to the stadium, like not having
Mhm.
anywhere where the ball is going to get lost. Like I think the whole thing is just going to be it's going to be good for the experience of the game, which is what we
Well,
would have needed. Like the
it's
dome
some
was
it's
really
something that
dry.
and that's the thing. It's something that will liven it up a little bit because you're gonna get fans in there anyway because the team's gonna be good. But
Yeah,
then also you're gonna get people that are sort of half-assed that are like, oh, and you know what? I'll go and check out what the new, what they've done to it just for a game. So
yeah.
you're gonna get a little more attention drawn to home games, which is gonna be cool.
And they've expanded their food menu, thank God, which is the one thing that was the worst about the dome is they had the worst food. It was just
Yeah.
basic, shitty
I,
ballpark food. But now they're gonna have like
in terms of basic shitty food, I am a big fan of like the nachos with the almost step away from plastic cheese. I am a big
yeah,
fan of those
but
because they
now they're
used to
gonna be
actually,
having like Cuban sandwiches and
yeah.
Montreal smoked meat sandwiches and
They-
like
they've mentioned the poutine hot dog many times, and I'm like,
yep. I've seen
fuck
the
yeah,
picture of it.
gravy,
Yep.
cheese, and a hot dog. I'm
Well,
in.
it's gravy cheese and there's potato scrapings
Oh, there
on
actually
top
is
of it as well.
even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was excited
Then
just for the gravy and cheese. Throw in some potatoes. There we go. We're good.
And then you've got that park social, which is like a park on the fifth level for
Yeah,
kids to hang out. And you've got the Corona one up there on the fifth level, which is going to be good. And then you've got the flight deck, which is now like a microbrewery of some kind is in there. I don't know which one,
that's
but there
awesome.
is one in there. And it's going to be the experience needed to be changed. I'm glad they're
And,
finally getting to the point.
and then some point down the road, it's going to be 10-cent beer night, and then there's going to be ejections and a game lost.
Well, did you know Shai Davidi last year actually kept track of how many dogs they sold?
Oh,
He
really?
actually he kept track of it. And it worked out that out of all those hot dog games, they were $1 a hot dog or whatever it was. So they're doing again this year. He said it worked out to each game an average of 1.15 hot dog per person,
That's it.
basically.
I
Yeah.
I, I
I
can
mean,
kill five.
they still sold hundreds of thousands of hot
Yeah,
dogs.
I can kill five of those things.
Yeah.
So there's people that were not pulling their weight.
Well, did you see the guys last year with the hot dog costumes on, eating the hot dogs during one of the
No,
games?
no.
It was right after the promotion started, and these two dudes went out to the flight deck area dressed up in like hot dog costumes. And then they started writing down and marking off every time one were a hot dog, they would hash it off and go get more and go get more. So they were having a
I
contest as to who would eat more hot dogs.
I
And
do
one
have an
guy
appreciation of
14
shit.
to 9.
I do have an
14 to
appreciation of
9.
things that go on during a baseball game because yes, there's some dry spells, but I mean, like
Mhm.
one thing that I do love about baseball games is attention to detail for other stuff. Like
Yeah.
remember a few years back there was those dudes that they were from Toronto, but they would go to every Blue Jays game and sit like second row in the visiting ballparks, dressed as umpires and do their
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
do the umpire things. There's
There's a,
always like there's always an Elvis section. Like there's always like guys dressed as Elvis Presley. There's always like who was it? Aaron Judge. He has that whole
oh, the
judge's
judge. Yeah.
court
They
there.
all,
Yeah,
yeah.
people like there. I love stuff like that. Like I think that's kind of cool. So I I do actually one thing that like speaking of dressing up as contacts, I do hope that we do have like something a little more fun than just like the rando thing on the jumbotron where it's like cheer for your section and it's like this buzz of light that goes around or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
You know,
Or they had when they had the flying planes against each
flying
other or the
planes.
race
Yeah,
cars. And yeah,
you know,
they're still going to
having
do all that stuff for the kids. I mean, that's kid
yeah,
stuff, right?
but
So,
I would like to see like you know someone in a costume running around in a field either making an ass of themselves or just like killing it like the
well, yeah, because
sprinter
our
that used to give
mascot
people a head
sucks.
start. Yeah,
That's why our mascot sucks. BJ
yeah,
Birdie was at least entertaining.
yeah.
Ace is not entertaining. He's just
Well,
a dude in a costume who dances around. He doesn't do anything.
we are spoiled in Toronto because we have the Raptor. The Raptor is awesome.
Oh
The
yeah,
Raptor is one of the Raptor hands down. And so when you go to a Raptors game and you see that, and then you see Ace, and you're like, huh,
but Ace doesn't do anything. He doesn't
no, but
do
that's what I mean.
flip.
That's what I
But
mean. Like,
well, but BJ Birdie at least would walk around and interact with the fans, like put your head in his mouth,
yeah,
things like that. And he would do things and try to make people laugh when he was up on the dugout. Like he was amusing.
yeah.
Ace just walks around.
Well,
It used to
what is
well, it
it?
used to be
What is it
Ace
now? Like
and what was the other one? There was the
Ace
female
and
one too.
Diamond. Ace and
Yeah,
Diamond.
I don't know why they got rid of
And
Diamond.
Diamond used to be able to like blink because she used to be able to like give you a
Yeah,
wink kind of
so
deal.
like make it more entertaining that way. Like you don't need to be the Philly fanatic, but at least something. Like
Philly
do
Fanatic is pretty
something.
awesome though.
The Philly, I mean, there's going to be no I mean, the San Diego Chicken was always the BL,
Oh
the
yeah,
OG, right?
yeah,
Um, watch a documentary on that guy, and it's kind of funny. His story is very strange. How he
yeah,
didn't have the rights technically for being the San Diego Chicken for a while. But the Raptors, first of all, he's a nice guy. The guy
yeah,
who is the Raptor, he's a really nice dude. And he's been doing it forever. I'm surprised he's still doing it because he's got to be as old as we are. And I'm sorry, I ain't doing no flips. I
yeah,
ain't doing no other than that stuff. Even if I was in shape, I wouldn't be doing it because I'd probably break something. But no, he's a really cool dude. He's just a really nice guy. I miss going to Raptor games. See, Raptor games are fun. Like there's energy involved, right?
yeah,
And Leaf games can be that way. They're not always. Blue Jay games, there's so much free time that they just need to start doing something more with it.
yeah,
They've got the bigger jumbotron and stuff, which is going to be great for. There's going to be more production on there. I know that's going to happen. And then when they change the 100 level and they regrade the seats and all that next season, that's going to make it even better. And it's going to become a baseball stadium. And that's fine. I don't care if the walls are 14 feet or 8 feet. I don't care if they come in or out. Doesn't bother me.
yeah,
It's just like every other fucking ballpark. Like Houston's got all kinds of little nooks and crannies in their stadium that bounces around on. And just that's the way it is.
yeah,
So now maybe you'll get have more exciting plays happening than just having your generic wall, you know? Because at least if there's little nooks and crannies, the ball can bounce around. Like how many triples do you remember seeing hit in the Skydome? Like I could put
I have been at a game where there has been one triple.
yeah,
That is it. That's all I
I
remember.
have seen a triple here and there, but I wouldn't say there's a lot of triples hit by either team in the Skydome at all. And now you will have a chance for that because of all these little in like nooks and shit things that balls are going to bounce around differently, and
Mhm.
it's going to eventually become a very big advantage for us, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
it'll develop into it because we'll get comfortable playing at home.
exactly.
That's why home is the place, right? Like that's why
So
you have a home
one thing
field advantage.
one thing I saw today I was on MLB.com, just kind of checking stuff out, and there was a little mini documentary done, and it was fantastic. And do you know about George Springer's disability?
No.
He has a stutter. He's a
Oh, never knew
stutterer.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
To be honest,
I mean,
I've only
he's
seen him talk just in like the odd random interview, but never
well,
for a long
he's no,
time.
he's pretty much overcome it. He has it, but one of his coaches said one year when he would play baseball in college, when he's like, I think he was at UConn, and the coach is like, "Do you realize you never stutter when you're on the baseball field?" He's like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, you never do. You when you play baseball, you don't stutter."
Hmm.
So apparently it's something with a lot of confidence as well
Yeah.
with yourself and being able to think things through. So basically, there's a writer, Anthony Castrovince did the interview, um, and I guess it was with another writer that he's good friends with, whose son is a stutterer. So he was having a hard time. And back in 2017, when Springer was playing for the Astros, the kid was discovering, people with stutters because he wanted somebody to relate to. When he found out, any big baseball fans, so he found out it was George Springer. He's like, George Springer. So he's a big George Springer fan. So they arranged for the two of them to meet. And ever since that point, the kid just became like an advocate for stutterers. He did school presentations about stuttering, and he like basically owned his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he still stutters pretty hard. So they had to meet again 6 years later. So the kid's now 13 years old, met up with George to talk, and George was like, holy crap. Like they talked and talked, and the kid still has problems, but the kid is just doesn't use it as an excuse for anything. And
Yeah.
it's because of it's all he says it's all because of what George Springer said to him and how George Springer treated him. And to know that there's somebody out there who can succeed and have this issue. So like apparently
That's kind
1%
of cool.
of the population are stutterers.
Well, don't you remember Marco Estrada like had almost to a point agoraphobia, but
Yeah.
but he there and people ask him, it's like, what about being in a baseball team? He goes, oh, it's different. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's
It's
not.
weird how it's like
There's literally 60,000 people staring at you. It's like,
yeah.
yeah, but I'm in my office. It's a different thing. Like
Yeah, it's like a safe space.
yeah, and so like so yeah, so it is a confidence thing, and it is a essentially like what's the best way to put it? Like a confidence thing, but I mean like it can be overcome. Just so
Yeah.
it is so essentially like a mental tick that is just if you work on it, it can be done. Like it sucks, and you just have to pick the right thing to actually expose it to.
Exactly. Okay, well, back to the other baseballs.
Yeah,
So out of the teams that a lot of people didn't think were going to do so well this year and started off doing decent, like Cincinnati's 3-1, for example,
yeah.
Pittsburgh's
But
2-2. Out of the teams that aren't supposed to be good, which one do you think is actually going to end up being better than people think they are?
well, that's the thing is I have a feeling the Orioles will be. And I think it's because they've literally just got like it's an entire new team, like it's an entire rookie team, like starting from last year, so they probably had a year under their belt, and they're not gonna be awesome, but I think they're gonna be above 500 for sure. Like I have a feeling they'll be above 500.
It's it's dependent on their like. I'm not worried about their hitting. It's dependent on their pitching.
Yeah.
Again, like
And
I don't know if the Orioles have a top five bullpen again. That's why they did well last year because their bullpen saved their starters more
yeah,
often than not. So if Baltimore's bullpen holds up, for sure, but
yeah.
I don't think it's gonna. I
And
think Baltimore's. I think they'll be maybe 500,
if
maybe.
if we if I take a National League team, I mean it's so tough. It's so tough to say the Rockies because you're hitting a rarefied air up there, right? So like
Yeah.
whatever you throw, everyone's going to hit it, and I don't think they actually have the pitchers to sort of
No, they have a
prevent
couple, but
runs
yeah.
prevent runs from going out. They've definitely got the bats. Definitely got the
Mhm.
bats. I
But
don't know.
Chris Bryant can actually hit a bloody home
You
run
can
this year,
actually
which he
hit a
did
home
not
run
do
now.
there
Yeah, I know.
last year. Yeah.
Sign a fat
No, for me,
contract.
I'm thinking Miami.
I well,
Miami.
I've always been a fan of Miami. I've always been a fan of Miami. Like
Well,
I like them.
they've picked up some decent, like Luis Arias for Pablo Lopez, and they've still got depth in their bullpen. Our depth in their starting rotation. Their
You
bullpen's
got to
decent. They've picked
essentially a
up some
Cy
guys
Young
that can
winner.
hit.
You got a
Yeah,
Cy Young
like
winner.
and exactly, and they picked up some guys that can hit. So I
I
mean,
I
they
loved
could be
Miami when they
better.
had like the Miami Vice kind of like cocaine infused logo
Oh
back in
my
the thing. I
god.
love that. It was great.
No, the street logo ones did last year for some of the teams that had these weird street uniforms. Remember they had the yellow ones for Boston.
Yeah,
Boston
I
has
do
weird
remember
yellow,
that. Yeah,
and I remember Miami had this weird combination of pastels. That's all
yeah.
I remember is just weird
Well,
pastel
Miami, you
stuff.
can get away with pastels because it's Miami, right? I
Yeah.
think one of the cooler things that they did, they had a '70s night in Tampa Bay a couple of years back.
Mm.
And remember back in the day when the Jays, the Mariners, they would have like the baby blues uniform. Like the Jays brought them back. Kansas City sort
Yeah.
of brought them back a little while back. The Mariners haven't really done it, but Tampa Bay gave themselves like a gaudy sort of blue and yellow, and it looks really,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool. It looks really cool, and I
Well, the
like
yellow
that.
definitely helps. No,
Yeah,
I like the color scheme on that is decent, but
yeah,
um, I don't. Tampa Bay. It's funny. I was reading other articles about Oakland and Tampa again about their stadium issues, and now apparently there's a place that Tampa might be able to actually build something. I don't see it.
okay. Yeah.
Oakland has more space to do that, but they just can't seem to find anybody willing to do that for them.
Mhm.
Um,
I,
so I'm
I've
starting to wonder.
and what I don't understand is I don't understand how Oakland hasn't been snapped up like by any like think of just in that area, just a
For
little
somebody to
around that
buy
area.
them,
Buy them. Yeah, how much money
nobody
is kicking
wants them
around?
because of the
Like,
stadium.
yeah,
That's
but
why.
that's what I mean. Like, you can literally buy them for dirt cheap, invest some cash into a stadium, and there's a lot of
But that's the
guys that
thing.
actually.
That stadium's got to go.
Oh no, that's what I mean.
Oh,
Like you don't play there. You don't play there. You survive with them for like about a year and a half until it takes you to build that stadium, the new stadium that you have, and then you shift
well,
them over there.
that's the problem is they've got an area they want to build it, but it's got to go through your municipal and your state and your federal stuff,
Yeah.
and finding something like because
Well, what was?
the land they're looking at, which is by the water,
Yeah.
all those lands are owned by different people in the three levels of government.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of all of them saying that's okay, and they're not. The mayor keeps thinking they have a chance, but I don't think they do. I don't think like they could have a chance if they did this 5 years ago. I just think it's too late now. That's it. Like even if
Well,
they got a new owner, I don't think it would
there's
change anything.
what is it? They have Howard Terminal Ballpark. Ooh, Howard Terminal, I like that. The proposed stadium to be built in Jack London Square neighborhood of Oakland, and they're going to chop it down to 35,000, and it's going to cost them a little over a half a billion to build because you don't have to put a roof on that, you don't have to do all that kind of stuff because it's baseball. You
But
can,
the thing they all want the owners to pay for it.
yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Like if the owner's not willing to pay for the stadiums these days, then they're not
Plans
going
look
to get it.
nice. The plans look really
Yeah,
cool, actually.
that's the thing. Like Oakland's not a bad. I mean, well, it
Well,
used to
there's
not be
parts
such
of
a
it.
bad town.
Yeah,
It's not exactly the nicest place in the world now, but
yeah,
neither is San Francisco either. Ever used to think San Francisco was fantastic until now, where they've got a ridiculously bad homeless problem.
yeah.
Really bad.
Oh, because the weather's nice.
And
So
that's all the people's got to go where the nice weather is.
yeah,
I would too. Actually, our weather here
oh,
wasn't too bad this year.
totally. Well,
I
I
hope
mean,
we get
apparently it's
stuck.
going to be super, super hot for us this year. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
I've
used
heard
to
about
we're used to
that.
having just Egypt style heat in Toronto anyway, so I'm
I
fine for
hate
that.
humidity so much. That's why Mexico is so much better. There's no humidity in the mountains, man. There's no humidity in the mountains. So we got. Do you actually think the Angels are going to be good this year?
I mean, it's hard to. I've said this before. Like you've got two generational talents. Like
Yeah.
one sort of a little not. I don't think he's past his prime, but he's like very much in his prime. And then you've got Shohei Ohtani, who's literally just showing us exactly what he can do. But you've got essentially you know one of the preeminent outfielders who was a power hitter, and then you've got a
Mhm.
pitcher who's a power hitter. So you need like two more pieces. And I would love the like. I mean, I obviously not at the expense of the Jays, but I'd love to see them actually do something because those two have to have something to hang on their mantle at some point. Like as opposed to just individual honors, I would like to see them have like some kind of a team honor with that. Like Shohei's got this nice little World Series, World Baseball Classic trophy to hang up, so I'm fine with that.
Yep.
But I think I have a feeling at some point one of those two, I don't think they'll both end up staying there. Like one's going to go
Yeah,
somewhere.
for sure. Shohei's going to go. Mike
Yeah.
Trout's hitting 417 so far. Shohei's hitting 294.
Yeah, the 294 as a pitcher.
Well, here's their outfield. Their outfield tape is Hunter Renfroe, Taylor Ward, and Mike Trout. Okay. Second base, they got Luis Rengifo, who's all decent, I guess. Gio Urshela is playing third while Anthony Rendon serves his stupid 5-game. Did you see what he did for jumping up and grabbing a fan by the shirt?
Yeah.
I would love to know what the fan was saying to him is what I would like to know. Because to cause a guy to go up into the stands and grab him by the scuff of his hand,
there's some athletes that have a very thin skin, and one of the things about baseball is there's ample time to heckle. There's ample time to heckle, and because baseball, the stadium gets quiet, you can hear every heckle. So
true. Okay, so I'm looking at the pitching for the LA Angels here.
Okay.
And so far, they've only used 5 pitchers, really? Shohei Ohtani. Okay. You've got Patrick Sandoval's in the rotation, who he has an ERA of 1.8 right now. Reed Detmers, Tyler Anderson, and Tucker Davidson. That's their guys. Detmers is decent. Patrick Sandoval is going to be a good one. I've never heard of Tyler Anderson. I don't know who Tucker Davidson is. Anybody named Tucker, I think, is a dick anyway. So nobody should ever name their kid Tucker. Since Tucker Carlson is still alive, no one should ever name their kid Tucker. Because you're just going to get compared to the biggest misogynistic racist on the face of the fucking earth.
Chase Silseth. Chase Silseth.
Oh my god.
That's a weird name.
If
you have a lisp, that is going to be tough to say. Yeah.
No kidding.
But yeah, I mean Tyler Anderson, 15-5, like from last year, so not ridiculous. Like, but not 28 starts, so that's roughly it wasn't like he was injured or he started pretty much what he could.
Their catcher's name is Logan O'Hoppe. O''Hoppe.
Well, no, that's their backup because you got Stassi as their starter, right? But Logan O'Hoppe. That almost sounds like
well, I guess they're starters on the DL or whatever because Logan.
Yeah, Stassi. Yeah.
So he's hitting 286.
Yeah.
Not bad. Brett Phillips is listed as an outfielder here. Who else we got? Jake Lamb they've got to play first base. Like losing Brandon Marsh was tough. I think they're gonna miss him big time. But I mean, like I said, they're pitching. They should be okay. All players. Here we go. I'm trying to think. So Tucker David. Okay, it looks like Tucker is their closer, I guess, because he's the only one with a save so far. Ooh, Aaron Loop.
Yeah.
Ryan Tepera is still there.
I did see that Tepera, yeah.
We got Matt Moore, Jimmy Herget, Carlos Estevez, Andrew Wantz.
Oh yeah, Carlos Estevez. The actual, I do remember hearing that because that's actually the real name of Charlie Sheen. Carlos, Charlie, and then Estevez because their mom's an Estevez. Emilio stuck with it. Charlie wanted to be.
Yep. Apparently, there's a movie that Emilio wants to make now, starring his dad. I remember something about he was fighting for the rights to get the rights back to something that he wrote. I think it was.
Oh wow!
Just an article in passing that I saw. But yeah, he's got something written for his dad. That whole family is fucking weird. Like they are.
Oh no, Emilio is fine. He bowed out of the public eye and didn't really do anything wrong.
No,
he's left it all to his brother. Yeah.
Well, I mean, then his dad in Apocalypse Now, who's literally high, literally drunk, beating the crap out of himself and causing himself to bleed for that one scene in his room right at the beginning of the movie.
Method acting. I'm gonna chalk it up to method acting, and it was the 70s.
He was really fucked up. He was like
Everyone in that movie
he even
was.
said no, but he said like they were worried about him because he had just gone like way over the edge. Not Brando way over the
Yeah.
edge, but enough over the edge that they were kind of concerned about it. But anyway, so I keep tangenting off baseball, but anyway, so
I've
if
put
we
us on
go
a
back
clock
to our,
today. I've put us on a clock today. Speaking of pitching clocks, because we were an hour and a
I know
half last.
we're getting close.
Yeah.
Well, we're at 7. We'll be over an hour now, so.
Yeah.
Well, to wrap up, I guess what we've been talking about, because it's just been kind of a rambling thing, because it's the beginning of the season. There's really not much
Oh
to
yeah.
really say because
Yeah.
you can't really blame players for 4 games. I
And you
mean,
can't
at the end of
finalize an
April,
opinion. You can't finalize an opinion after seeing like
yeah,
such a small sample size, right? So
exactly. Like, I just don't. I would just say it again. I don't know if I'm gonna have to keep saying this for the entire time we have this podcast, but our fans have just got to calm down. Like, I don't get people who lose their brains over a game of 162 games. That's like you said, if this was NFL, completely different thing,
different story. Yeah.
right? Even hockey, half the games, completely different thing. It's 6 months of games. If you think after game 4 we're 1-3, that's it, that's what you are, a Pissy Jays fan. And Pissy Jays fans can just leave us alone. Stop posting shit. You know what? If you're miserable about the team because you can't handle the fact they've lost 3 games already, don't post anything.
Yeah.
Because those of us who have perspective don't give a flying crap what you have to say.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care that you think they're suck. I don't care that you think Shatkin's built a loser team, as somebody put it today. Like, you don't understand. And there's nothing worse than people who don't get it being the loudest people talking.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. Like, I don't understand why people who do get it. It's like, I'll say a perfect example. I go back to American politics. The right wing will latch onto somebody and beat them down if they've done something, right? They will beat them down. Like the whole Hunter Biden laptop thing, which
Yeah.
is ridiculous because Hunter Biden's going to travel halfway across the country, go to a small town where there's a computer shop that he's never been to before, drop off his computer there and just leave it there.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense, right? And they're all over this. But if you look at Ivanka, Don Jr.,
Oh yeah.
the other twit, and Jared, the amount of money they made off of the presidency while they were working in the White House it's like comparing Jupiter to the size of a peanut. And the left does nothing to hype on it, to get on. Like, oh, remember when Don Jr. stole from a children's cancer charity? Remember Donald Trump didn't pay all of his workers, which is ironic that the reason that he's being indicted is he actually paid somebody money.
Someone. Yeah.
That's irony right there. But it's the same thing with the Blue Jay fans. Like, they feel like they have to say something. And then when they say something, first of all, they can't fucking spell and they have no grammar. I don't understand why people don't get more upset about grammar issues. It really drives me nuts because all that proves to me is the dumbing down of society when people are like, oh, well, you know what he meant, but it's not spelled that way. It's like, and
I am a grammar police. I am
too.
Grammar. Yeah.
Well, yesterday I was watching one of the podcasts that I like from our Blue Jay types, and they spelled Merrifield wrong on their board, and it was on the entire hour. They spelled it Merriefield. There's no
it's just
extra
an I.
E.
It's just an I.
It's just an I. And it was like that the whole time. And it's like they didn't care. You know what? If you want to get words wrong and not give a shit, that's one thing. That's just being petty and stupid. But when you spell somebody's name wrong, that's just wrong.
Well, if I mean, I'm gonna throw myself under the bus for a second. I did call him Whitfield because I'm used to Winfield and Whit Merrifield, but I called him that. If I saw it written, I would realize my mistake. Saw it written and then left it there. That's a different story altogether. Yeah.
Yeah, like making a mistake is different, but leaving it up there, like Google it, or all these people who ask dumb questions about stuff. Fucking use Google, Bing it. I don't care.
90%. And 90% of podcast interface and stuff like that have a spell check.
Exactly. Use it. Like I don't understand. Like I know some people type really, really, really fast and they'll set it and like oops. And I've done that myself. But I go back and I'll edit it and make it look like it's supposed to look. I won't leave it wrong. But the ones who just leave it wrong, it's like people don't care about things anymore. They don't care about the details anymore. And it's reached the point where in Toronto, all the fans are just jaded.
Yeah.
They are. Like the amount of people that are calling for Nick Nurse to be fired, for example, for the Raptors, it's just like, oh my God, he had a bad season. He's only finishing 6th.
Yeah.
Oh no. How horrible.
He's
Coach
he's
he
he's the
is.
top he's the top three in wins in active coaches in the NBA.
Yeah. And they're saying
Actually,
he's going to get
this,
replaced by the guy who was going to be coaching Boston. Ime
no,
Uoka? I think,
no. One little baseball quip that I want to do probably before we go. It's actually
yeah.
kind of fun. It ties in with Bobby Bonilla Day. That's it's not coming up yet,
Oh
but it sort
God.
of is. Who was in the top five in salary on Cincinnati's payroll
Like this year?
this year?
Oh, they're paying somebody. Who is it? Damn. I don't
Ken
read. Yeah.
3.6 million
Yeah.
from deferred salary. 3.6. So he's
Yeah.
number four in
I
their
mean,
in
Votto's
their
got to be number one, obviously,
yeah.
because this
Oh
is the
yeah, yeah.
last year of his contract.
But Ken Griffey Jr. hasn't played for them since 2010,
And that's
and
funny
it's
you
a
say that
deferred
because
salary.
one of my baseball video games I play, I think it's the MLB 2000 MLB 9 innings. It's called, and they change their front graphic every year. Like it
Yeah,
was like Mike Trout for like 3 years. I was playing this game, and now this year
yeah.
it's got 2 players on it: Mike Trout and Ken Griffey. Because you
That's
can
odd.
use in the game, um, you can use like older
Players
players,
from any generation. Yeah,
right? So I just
yeah,
thought it was funny they showed Ken Griffey because it was I saw that just after he did that like hitting display during the World Baseball Classic where he went up into the batting cage and started smoking balls all over the place, and people were like,
yeah,
"Holy shit, was he 55?" And he's
yeah,
just killing it, and that's fun. Like
yeah.
people should focus on those things. I don't understand why everything has to be a negative focus for everything all the time. Like people with positivity don't say anything,
hmm
but people who are negative say it all the time. So
Sometimes,
I'm gonna
sometimes negative people are funny, like
sometimes
5%,
they can be.
and those are usually comedians. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, if you want to be a funny ass dude and be a snarky bastard at the same time, go for it. I
yeah,
don't care. But if you're just whining because you're just a whiny little bitch, then go be a whiny little bitch with your family and friends. Like we don't need to read these things. Like why do these people think we need to know that they're pissed off at the Blue Jays after game 4?
yeah.
Who cares? I don't care what you think. If you
So
think
then,
people do care,
either you just don't watch or don't say
yep.
anything else because you've
Yeah,
said your piece, and then that's it.
yep. I think I had one that I had. Where is it? Before we go, and
Yeah.
I'll if I can find this on Facebook really
What
quickly.
is this? This is a pissy Jays. Let me line up a a little
Yep.
promo for this here.
Okay, so
Oh, whoa, a second.
okay, we're getting there. There are a few of them today. I just got to sort through them, find out which is the right one of people losing their friggin' minds. Because, oh yeah, okay. This is one thing that this one guy said. It's fitting it's 2023 because it's a 10-year anniversary of us finishing last place in 2013, and this pathetic excuse of a team could end up being last place if they struggle like this. FYI, I've hit the panic button already. No one can't hit a home run, and the pitching has been god awful. What else can get worse?
Well, for starters, no one
Your
can't.
grammar?
hmm
That can get worse.
Yeah.
I don't know how much worse because your grammar sucks, Kelvin. And people are like, "You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy." So then there's another one. Another guy gave some perspective on like teams. He remember in 2022 the Astros were 2-7 in games 6 through 14. The Braves when they won were 6-9 at one point. Like he's going over teams who won and showing the losing streaks they had to try and show people perspective. I appreciate that. Like Damn right. Show them why.
Yeah.
This is why. Absolutely, that's why. Oh, this is another guy named Caesar. Folks, they've played 4 games. They have 158 games remaining. Let's keep this positive. This team is the favorite by some to win their division. Yeah. And I think I wrote, anyone who thinks the season is decimated is not a logical thinker. Because it's logic. Logic dictates it's not a lost season.
Yeah.
Why can't I find this one guy? Oh, is it Jordan? Oh, here it is. This is okay. This may be literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody post. Okay. By a guy named Jordan. Why show the strike zone if we don't use it? So annoying that we can see it's clearly a strike, but the umpire doesn't get that advantage. If we don't use it, don't show it. And he says we. So, okay, so you got the box, right? So the rest of us who are baseball fans can see how well the pitcher's doing, right? This guy doesn't like being told, apparently, how well the pitcher's doing. So he wants to get rid of that box because if the umpire can't see the box, why should we see the box?
Well,
that
okay,
may be the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
If he's even remotely a fan, he will understand that every single umpire has a completely different strike zone, even though it's supposed to be standardized.
Exactly.
To a point where it's even angry in the middle of games how bad some strike zones are. So the box is just to give you a justified, essentially a stencil to sort of work out of. But it's also pitch location too. That's one of the things. So to see if a pitcher's actually on fire.
So I responded to him, I said, and I just wrote one thing. I wrote, what? That's it. And he writes back to me, I don't like that we can see the strike zone. When it's clearly a strike, the ump calls a ball. All it does is annoy us, and that it's not called a strike. If we're not using the strike zone, don't show it on TV. And I said, annoys you.
Mm-hmm.
Just you. The rest of us like seeing how the pitcher's doing, so it doesn't annoy us. It annoys you. and then my final was a pretty dumb thing to get all worked up about. It is by far the dumbest thing I've read online yet. Like, really? You're going to get really upset because they got a box there to help us show where the... I can't imagine not having it. And we didn't have it forever. Yeah. But now that you can see things, it makes it so much easier to kind of get it.
Well,
and see
there's just that little square which can tell you exactly everything you need to know. It has the inning.
Yeah.
It has if there's a runner on base or not. And the 1 dot, 2 dots, or no dots, 1 out, 2 out, no one out. And that little thing, whoever invented that, it's freaking genius.
You know what they call it?
What?
It's called the bug. They call it the bug.
Okay.
I have operated the bug for TSN a few times back in the day. I think in 1996.
That's cool. I like that.
Specifically. And I did a couple from the Dome, couple from the studio. Got paid $100 to operate that thing. Oh, strike one? Cool.
At the time, that's $100 for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, 3. Now it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
People are also really upset that they're showing the pitch clock on television.
Well, why? If the umpire can't use it, then why show it?
Sportsnet, Sportsnet said that, Dan Schulman explained this. He said when it gets down to the 10-second mark, that's when they start showing the clock on the bug. It's not even a separate thing. They've now got it built into the bug, right? And that's when they show it. But other teams are showing. I think you'll see it for a month. You'll see it for a month so people can get used to it, and then it's going to go away. It's just because it's a new thing. But I just think people like to be mad. I sometimes think these people just like to be upset. They like to be not in a good mood. That's just what they like. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. The whole point of life is to enjoy yourself while you're here for the short time that we are. Mm-hmm. You don't always do it because that's life, but you make the best of it and you try. You don't sit there after 4 games and go, this team sucks. This is forever. We're gonna lose.
I'm used to liking shitty teams, man. I love it. You know what? Yeah. It takes a hardcore
you're
fan.
A Browns fan.
Yes, it takes a hardcore fan to still stay true to a team that sucks. The Jays don't
And
suck.
that's the thing. The fans that are there when they did suck, those are the fans.
Yeah.
Now the ones that they're winning, they come in and they start complaining about shit. Those aren't the fans. Those are just people who are like, oh, I got a winning team. They're like, oh, they're not winning. I'm
The
totally
only the only
offended.
thing the only thing I will complain about when my team starts getting good from when they were shitty is that I could have bought a crappy seat and then moved down. Now it's full.
Yeah.
That's complainable.
Actually, that's hard to do with the Skydome. They used to be Nazis
Oh no!
about that
As
kind of
long as
stuff.
as long as you didn't go 10 rows into the first part. If
Yeah.
you just went into the first part and fine, like you don't go from last to first. You go last to like
Yeah.
11.
Yeah. I would love just once in my life to have one of those front row on the first or third base line. Just once. Never
Yeah.
had them. I've been like fourth row. I've been third row behind the plate. That was cool. I just want that one game right there on the side, just on the
I
sideline.
kind of also would have liked it back in the day when there wasn't a mesh protecting you, because then like you got to be watching or else, or else it is game
That's
over.
yeah. I mean, the mesh. It's a really good. It's an idea, a
Yeah.
long time coming. Just because people hit things harder now than they ever used to. So because the bats are
Well,
harder, the balls are.
there's it's actually I'm trying to remember exactly where she sits, but she's a season ticket holder in the Jays, like in the dome, and she's
She's
like
the old lady.
fourth row. Yeah, and like when foul balls come back, like straight off the bat, not even a blink. When you see other people, like they scream, and she's just
Yeah.
like tough as
No,
nails.
she's the
Love it.
old lady right behind home plate. That's like
Yeah,
yeah. She's no
she's
yeah.
like,
They love her. Like she's known by everybody now.
oh
I
yeah,
mean, she's got to be in her 80s if she's
yeah,
still around. I
yeah.
saw a thing on to pick your it was a thing about your sport if you're a sport your sports team, who are their famous celebrities who love your sports team.
Okay.
So if you had to pick the Toronto Blue Jays, who's the celebrity that loves the Toronto Blue Jays that you can think of right off the bat?
I mean, I like randomly seen a couple of hockey players when they were wearing their when they were getting their Stanley Cup rings wearing a Jays
Mm.
hat. Yeah, so Drew Doughty, which is one that I thought was actually pretty cool, but I don't know who you going for.
The one that came up the most in this, it's the only one that came up. Nobody else came up except this one person, and he's not
Mhm.
an athlete. He's a musician. Who do you think that musician is?
Alive or dead?
Alive,
Alive.
very
Okay, because
popular.
we're gonna say Justin Bieber.
Nope. Him and his group are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Ooh, let's just say Dave Grohl.
No, think Canadian.
In Canadian. Okay, cool. Because I was gonna say like he's even though like from Seattle, he's technically from Washington. Um,
Yeah,
him and his group are in the Hall of Fame. That's a tough one. I mean, well, like obviously Geddy Lee is.
Geddy Lee.
Geddy Lee is
That's the
like
one.
that's the thing is like he's such a common fixture in just Toronto iconography that
Yeah,
and like but he's at every game. He's at every
and
game.
that's the
Like
thing. But that's the only one they ever say because you never really see any other celebrities at a game. You don't. Like occasionally you see once in a while. Like I saw Ryan Reynolds once. I've seen like some celebrities one time,
no, you
but if you're
get the
talking
you get the odd
consistently,
celebrities that are filming whoever's filming a movie in Toronto in the
yeah,
summer. They go
that
to a
happens a
box,
lot.
right? Geddy sits in the action.
Yeah, exactly. And he's the only one. Like I thought there'd be more. I thought maybe even Jason Priestley might have been one or somebody like that. But no,
He's a BC boy. He's a
there.
BC boy.
That's
So
the thing.
he might be a Jays fan, but he's probably a Mariners fan.
A lot of celebrities tend to live in the West Coast now these days.
Well,
And when
it's a
I
quick
also read that,
it's a quick flight down to LA, right? So that's the trick.
yeah. And apparently Ryan Reynolds' group that's looking at buying the Senators
Hmm.
are the front runners to buy the Senators at this point.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So Ryan Reynolds might own two teams.
And Wrexham's doing well.
Yeah,
Wrexham's
that's amazing. It's
Wrexham.
amazing what you
They're
can do when you pay attention to a team and care about
pay
it and
attention
try and do something to do.
and throw some money at it. And look what the Jays have done.
Exactly.
They've thrown some money at it. It's going to
Yeah,
be good.
anybody who thinks that the front office has done shit doesn't understand anything. You don't get
Yeah.
it. You don't get it. Mark Shapiro has done more for this organization than anybody that's not named Paul Beast or Pat Gillick. And
Yeah.
I'm not talking the team. I'm talking facilities.
Yeah.
The whole new spring training facility, revamping the ballpark,
Yeah.
getting new foodstuffs in there, get just all these things that the president should be doing. He does.
Yeah.
These are things that None of the other ones could do it. Paul Godfrey never did it. Beeston was a bastion for this team, and he's still like technically an executive of the team. Not really. He's kind of like a
He's
executive.
grandfathered in, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's still got an office there. He just doesn't really do anything. You know, it's, I know he's part of he's part of some baseball groups out of MLB, like their committees for
Well,
whatever.
he was massively important in bringing the franchise in, which is a good story.
Well, Godfrey was.
Save it. Well, no, but Godfrey was, but Beeston was too, though. Beeston was Godfrey.
Beeston wasn't Beeston one of the first guys hired by the team? Oh no,
yeah, but
I was saying
Gordash. No, Godfrey was the one that went to the National League, to pitch it, and then they said, well, why don't you try for the American League, because they're coming up, because Toronto wanted to be a National League team. We wanted to be a National League team.
Well, we were within a hair of being the San Francisco Giant, the Toronto.
Yeah, and it came down to a mayor. It came down to a mayor that was running for in San Francisco. That one of his platforms was, "I will keep the Giants here." So
exactly.
We can go into detail on that on another day, because that's actually a cool story. But
it is. There's a lot of cool stories going. But anyway, the baseball season so far, it's been all right. Nothing really crazy's happened. It is
4 games.
I don't
a series and a third. That's it.
Yeah, and not even with the rest of what's been going on in baseball. Like, there's really nothing that's really stood out as like wow for the first few days. So wait
till we play a traditional rival. Like, I mean, we have Detroit at home, and Detroit used to be an old school rival. So like the games are a little different now, but it's close.
3 hours away from each other, can't play each other. I just don't like be in the same division. It makes no sense.
It's still close. So you're still going to get some cross rivalry. I mean, like once we start playing a Boston and New York and a Baltimore and Tampa, it'll be you'll see that come out. So
when they start doing realignment, what's happening? You're going to see. I guarantee you'll see Toronto. You'll see Detroit. You'll see Cleveland. You'll see Cleveland, and you'll probably see Pittsburgh.
I can see that,
because they're all that's all right around Lake Ontario-ish kind of thing, right? They're all within just a few hours of each other. Maybe Montreal if they get a team, but and that's anyway. So enjoy your baseball, people. It's not life and death. There's so much other bullshit out there that's going to make you go fucking crazy. Enjoy the baseball game for just it being a game.
Take a Valium, take an Ambien, watch the game, and relax.
Exactly. Just enjoy it. Like, the best way to start enjoying baseball again is don't watch a Blue Jay game. Watch another game. Watch another. Oh, no, honestly.
That's great.
Another team just for the sake of watching baseball, not watching the Blue Jays. And just see how much you might enjoy the game and bring that back to your watching when you're watching.
If you don't have a horse in the race, yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, just enjoy it. I honestly wholeheartedly believe that if you are one of these fatalists who think that we're going to suck all year, you shouldn't be watching. You shouldn't go do something else with your time. I don't know.
Invest money and see how fatal you're going to be on that one.
Yeah. Go fucking tree hunting. Go underwater firefighting. I don't care. Just stop filling the fans who are enjoying it and have some optimism. Stop telling us oh, you're just a fan who just thinks everything's all roses and puppy dogs. Like, well, yeah, because I believe in it. I'm an optimist when it comes to the team. I'm not a pessimist. So I'm not a prototypical Toronto fan. Toronto fans are pessimists, and they will be. They will be until the day the Leafs win a goddamn cup.
We're gonna bust it out now, because remember how we were on a clock.
Yep, and we blew past that clock real good.
We blew it. All right, kids. So we'll catch you next week.
So blue.
I know. And remember, relax.
Relax.
Peace.
Love ya. See you next week.